pretty much.
It's fast and easy.
And that's key. The fast and easy and the speed of our society is something that food has. It works both ways. I'm vegan, and I often hear, "How can you do that? How do you live? How do you do that? You can't just go anywhere and eat all the time." Yeah, it's you. So I personally slow down how I eat or what I eat. And I recognize that for myself, McDonald's isn't going to cut it. I'm not going there, and I'm not going there because of the way that I feel about these practices. So I'm willing to take a step back from that I'm just going to eat to survive type of mentality and the speed of society in order to do that. I recognize that not everybody can afford to do that or has the time to do that. But I also stand on the side that that's what they want us to think. We're all capable of grabbing Chex Mix or trail mix instead of a cheeseburger.
Well, I'm going to eat today, and I'll probably eat a doggone chicken burger, even though I eat chicken, I hate chicken because I'm hungry, and there it is. I just can't go and materialize a bag of that, so regardless of how I truly feel, I'll probably end up eating one of them anyway because I'm hungry and I have $1. And that's what's happening,
And that's part of, the profit machine, is that nutritious food is more expensive than, I actually did some research into food prices a few years ago, and what I found is that our vegetable prices are determined on animal commodity prices. So the value of a pig, the value of a cow, the value of a chicken directly determines the cost of the tomato. That they're not separate.
How does that work?
I was going to say about, I know that there's been community gardens that have been involved with the occupation and stuff, but thankfully we live in a time where I think people, because this information is out there, people who started up community gardens realizing it's cheaper, like your time to go and pull weeds and stuff and get involved with the community garden. It's a perfect trade for fresh fruits and vegetables. So I know that just hearing different stories about LA, in San Diego, when more families are getting involved, it's harder to afford food.
More people are trying to get chickens, I think, for eggs, live chickens in the backyard. Well, I think Americans are brainwashed by TV and radio and stuff, and I think I've seen some where, I don't know how to go into it, but basically where a lot of Americans that watch TV and listen to the radio and stuff, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some sort of vibration or something, that makes people just, their minds are gone. They're just gonna go ahead and do it and
Sports.
Go Browns!
In general, in total.
Football.
Sports.
It's called baseball. It's called hockey.
Sports.
well, no, but I'm
That's why it's called entertainment. It's all entertainment.
They're mentally, they're not, all the connectors aren't working. It's got something to do with TV and radio. I live in Mexico, and I'm a retired there's many of us down there. And we see it. We see it clear as a bell. We see all the push for vaccines and all the signs on the buses to go call the mental health people. If you've got any kind of problem, you want to call the mental health people and get on medication. All the buses have this stuff, and this get vaccine. None of my friends, none of us get vaccines at all. None of us. There's no vaccines. But I think up here there's like maybe I'm trying to come up with a quick way to say it, but I almost as though there were giant antennas somewhere, like just making people's brains not function properly. They're just running around and doing things and eating things and believing things that have just sort of like been put there, kind of.
Maybe it's the vaccines that we're taking.
Like a brainwashing, like some sort of like these upper echelons or whatever, like they know all this, so they're just sending up radio waves, subliminal radio waves to make everybody just sort of go out and run around and do stuff and eat stuff and react, and that's it. And when one of them stops and takes a step back and says, no, I am able to participate in that, they will seem like there's something wrong with them, or they're odd. They stand out. If somebody doesn't watch TV all the time, you're going to stand out like a sore thumb. You're not going to think and act like just about everybody else. People think you're crazy, stupid, or whatever.
Well,
They're
now
not
we're
gonna
all
conform.
gathered together and they're calling us lazy or mixed or homeless people.
And they're calling us terrorists. Yeah, the
So
dangerous.
if we could bring it back
We have no idea.
to you know, the profit and the cruelty. You want to say anything?
Oh
Jeremy?
yeah, please raise your hand if you want to say something so we can get everybody to speak. Jeff had his hand raised. You want to skip? Mari, did you?
Just to point out something, it's like, I mean, I agree with some of what you're saying, and I think even just looking at MSG and stuff, and how it does look great. I think over time, just as information I feel, maybe it's just me, but it's more and more coming out and realizing how it's affecting us. It's not we're able to but I think, you know, even just eating as a vegan or vegetarian, I think a lot more. You know, and when you know, about putting these things in your body. So I think people are just starting to connect with the dots. You know, just trying to.
Michelle?
A couple of things. Cisco, what you're doing is great. You need to tell as many people as you can about this, and keep doing it. Do it until the day you die, man. That's wonderful. I used to work with a guy that worked in a slaughterhouse, and you know, some people aren't all the way up here. You know, they're not all up there. And this guy was a sadist. This guy would come in and he'd get these bulls, and he'd chat with these cattle stunners, and he'd brag about it to us as co-workers. We worked in an entirely different field, but like, you know, he's bragging about this stuff. You think that's okay? No, that's not okay. Another thing is, after PETA, for how many years PETA's been along, I don't know how long it's been, but they've been putting these images out of this incredible confinement and torture of animals, and they've had such a hard time of it that Occupy's even going to have a harder time. I don't know what the barrier is. I just don't understand it, but there's a giant barrier there. It's despicable.
No.
I
Her
just
and then you.
want to say that she's right about the community gardens, because anybody that's gone to Whole Foods or even the farmers markets, that's not cheap. When you try to buy their produce, it's not cheap. So you try to eat right, but go to those two places where they're supposed to have good quality, it's not cheap at
The
all.
prices are jacked up so high because of the gas.
They what?
The prices are jacked up so high because of the rising of gas.
I don't know, they've always been high.
Food prices.
Well, I think that was the point of the whole.
Again, fruit and vegetable prices are directly tied to livestock.
How does that work?
Like the
And
farmers market.
I will have to chat about that. But what that means is, no, this is price setting only. The prices of those are set by the prices of commodities, of animal agriculture commodities. So the price of a head of cattle determines the price of a tomato. The price of a head of cattle is the input that fluctuates the most is the price of feed. So when we have droughts and when we have, you know, adverse environmental factors, then that price fluctuates, which then causes our fruits and vegetable price to fluctuate. But the fruits and vegetable, because it's agriculture, is not separate from the commodification of animal price. So, and that's why one of the common arguments against veganism as a solution to this is because fruits and vegetables are so expensive, we don't realize is that they're tied together, and if we took one out, then what would happen?
Why not against veganism?
No. I'm just saying that's part of the problem, is that the food prices are so intertwined and based solely on animal products that creates the issue of why we eat it, because it's cheaper.
I think Jeff was next, and then you.
I'm just going to speak on part of why we do this. A large part of the cruelty is understood.